There's a difference between a leader that people respect and a leader that people would follow anywhere. And you've probably worked for both. One of them had a title, and the other one had something else, something that you felt before they even said a word. I've spent 20,000 hours in corporate training rooms across America, and I've watched both kind of leaders up close. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what that is and what separates the leaders that people follow by choice from the ones that they follow by title. First attribute of a high performance leader is you have very low attrition of employees. In other words, you have high retention. What happens is you do not see a lot of people quitting because they love their job so much. When I see a revolving door of employees, I know that there's a problem. Years ago, I read a book called The Amazement Revolution. And what they said was amazing in the world today was consistency. The bar was so low, if you can just give the customer a consistent experience, they consider that amazing. If you have a revolving door of employees, there is no consistency and there's a dropping of communication. Stephen Covey's son wrote a book called The Speed of Trust. And he talked about in a high trust environment, everything moves quicker. Well, when you have high retention, you have high trust. You have high attrition, you have low trust. Nobody trusts anybody because there's a revolving door of employees. The great leader has high retention. When I talk to the employee and they talk about them, there's like a reverence that comes in their voice. You can just hear the conviction coming out of them, how much they love that leader. When I ask them about the high attrition leader, they'll pause and they'll think, they'll go, well, we're still in the honeymoon phase. Oh, we're still getting to know each other. Or they won't say what they want to say, what they're truly feeling, because they're not impressed with what they're seeing. So if you keep your employees, you are a high level leader. If you have a revolving door of employees, high attrition leader, you might want to look in the mirror and look at yourself and look at your leadership skills, because you're costing the company money every time you're onboarding and offboarding and word of mouth. The second attribute is connection with equality. These great leaders, they don't show favoritism. They give everybody respect. They have deep understanding, and everybody is a valuable part of the team. And what this does is it creates the lack of favoritism. When you see the leader that has their guy or this leader that has their friend, what this does is this creates jealousy. And this jealousy creates negative talking, and it literally creates a virus in the workplace. When everybody feels respected and everybody feels like they're part of this team, and this is the ability that leader understands the human psychology and they understand the human nature. And they understand being fair because they understand that we're basically like little kids when it comes to somebody else getting something, and why don't I get that thing? So they have this ability to be non-judgmental and high understanding, because whenever you judge, you lose influence. The great leader is a highly conscious human being that comes from a position of understanding. They understand that human beings are programmed, they understand that we're flawed, and they learn how to give the people the level of understanding that makes them feel seen. And when your employees feel seen, they feel significant. And when they feel significant, they perform. The third attribute is emotional stability. I remember as a young man in high school football, I had this one coach that would throw the clipboard down and throw temper tantrums. And I would look at him, and remember, I was young, I would judge him for losing his temper. Basically, it's like, oh my gosh, look at this guy lose his temper. Now, maybe one of the reasons I judged him is because my father never lost his temper like that. My mother never lost her temper like that. He ended up leaving my junior year, and then we had a new coach that happened to play in the NFL. His name was Gary Beller. And Gary was so cool and so calm. And that year, we took the championship. Now, was it due to the coaching style? Was it due to the person that we wanted to follow? Was it due to the level of trust we had that this human being that had the ability to emotionally regulate himself so we could trust him? If you cannot regulate yourself, how are you going to regulate all of these people? If you're not aware enough, if you haven't learned at this stage of the game. I remember one time I was interviewing somebody that was going to be my supervisor, and I said, have you learned how to regulate yourself yet at this stage of the game? The great leader is emotionally regulated. You're going to have the same person every time. You're not going to have Jekyll. You're not going to have Hyde. You're going to have the same person that creates clear, simple communication. Great leaders, I rarely, if ever, see that they break. If they do, it's rare enough that people remember it as an exception and not the rule. One thing I've learned as a trainer, the person with the most energy wins. And that's positive energy, because when you have abundant positive energy, you optimize everything. You see opportunities, you are more resourceful, you are more creative, and the great leader inspires that. When you have a volatile leader, they don't inspire that. Your people are scared and they don't know who they're going to get on a given day. So they're in survival, which minimizes their imagination, minimizes their resourcefulness, minimizes their creativity. You are stifling your people by your inability to regulate your own emotions. My job is to hold them up in spite of what they're feeling, in spite of what's going on in the world. My job is to protect them. In my book, I talked about the pressure reducing valve. And when people would put pressure on me back when I was in construction, my job was to stop the pressure here and reduce it so my people didn't even feel it. The fourth attribute is exemplary behavior. My favorite parenting quote is, behavior is not taught, is caught. It's not what you tell your kid, it's what you show your kid. There is no greater teacher than your example. The same thing is true for a leader. Behavior is not taught, it's caught. It's not what you tell your people, it's what you show your people. You walk your talk. This is congruency. This is a high trust leader. The great leader exemplifies what a great leader is, and the people have mirror neurons. Mirror neurons is a phenomena where not only does my face mimic your face, so I know how you feel, but I also mimic your behavior. So when I'm a great leader, what I'm doing is I'm making everybody under my immediate domain great leaders, because I'm exemplifying what a great leader is. And I understand that I am always on stage and they are always watching me at a minimum, at a subconscious level, at a maximum, at a conscious level. And even if they're not taking notes, they're taking notes with their subconscious mind, because that's how mirror neurons work. So the great leader understands this. They understand that they're always on stage and they're teaching by their example. Because always remember that it's not what you say, it's what you show them. Because human behavior is not taught, it's caught by your example. The fifth attribute of a great leader is your people have the vision and have the buy-in. The metaphor is that you have a beach ball, and I'm looking at the green side of the beach ball, and I'm telling you to do something, but you're looking at the red side of the beach ball. And I need to say, no, no, no. If you look at it from this perspective, the green side, you now have buy-in because you understand where I'm going. The best leaders that I know, they collectively getting people moving in the same direction. The direction of the vision, the direction that gives them a collective purpose. An individual purpose can move a mountain, a collective purpose can move a continent. The corporation that you work for is only as good as your immediate supervisor. So you could work for a great corporation and have a horrible supervisor, and your life is hell on earth. And you could work for a horrible corporation and have a great supervisor, and your life is heaven on earth. The difference is the supervisor that's above you. The great supervisor gets the most out of the human resources because they have the heightened level of awareness. And the heightened level of awareness allows them to optimize people. When they look at people with equality, they let them know that they're significant. They let them know that they matter. They're consistent. They're not Jekyll or Hyde, North or South Pole. They're the same person every single time. They have the ability to lead people and let them know where they're going, and the people follow and will fight for them. They will get their back. They won't talk negative behind their back. It is truly spectacular to witness. If you like this content, please like or subscribe, because what we're doing here is we are turning snowflakes into diamonds.